Good evening. I would like to call the City of Mount Vernon City Council meeting for Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 to order. The time is now 7 p.m. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, next up, I'll ask our city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Beaton,
Here,
Councilmember Rocksmith,
excused,
Councilmember Correas,
excused,
Councilmember Hudson,
excused.
Councilmember Molinar,
Here.
Councilmember Tesoro. Councilmember Tesoro,
Here.
Councilmember Vanderstoop.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Next up, we have approval of tonight's council meeting agenda.
So move. Second.
Here we have a motion by Councilmember Molinar and a second by Councilmember Tercero. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? All right, motion passes. All right, we're jumping right in here to community comments. If there's anyone present in council chambers here tonight that would like to address council, please step up to the podium. State your name and city of residence, and please let us know if 3 minutes will be enough time for you to share your message.
I'm not sure, but Ed Johnson, I live in downtown Mount Vernon and currently LaConner. I'm trying to move for the last 6 weeks because I'm doing it on my own and it's not been easy. That said, I'm kind of wondering, where is Barney Fife when you need him? All the numbers and stuff I just heard thrown out, 350,000. I'm like, holy moly. I mean, back in the day, it was $50 they were upset about, but now it's mega thousands. So this is way wrong. This should be $1 million bill instead of a $1 bill. It's just crazy. Anyways, I came in tonight because there were some comments that had been made 2 years ago, actually, and I didn't understand how our American English has been mutated in such a way that I can't understand it. I've been to university and 4 colleges. I come back and people are texting and all this other garbage and they can't pass English class and whatever else. I'm okay. So I'm finding different definitions in different industries with the same word that I grew up with. And it's driving me crazy. So I'm retired. I forgot to set my clocks and I'm here an hour early. Thank you, Steve. And anyways, that's what happens. I'm on your schedule, not mine, because I ain't got one no more, thank God. But I'm having to do all this education. And that thing I want to bring up is what somebody said. And I had personally been through the visa process 5 times. And so I understand it. It's to make sure we screen out the bad players, period. You got to get background checked and stuff. So the word that came up, and I argued it in my head, is illegal. It is illegal if you don't follow the law. I mean, it's really simple. I couldn't figure it out. And people said, no, there's no such thing as illegal people or illegal aliens or illegal whatever. I'm like, let's see, they bypass the laws. That's a crime. Yeah, I don't know about that. So 522,000 suspected illegals have been detained, and over 2,000 some odd have been deported. And of that, concerningly, were pedophiles, rapists, murderers, and so on. Any one of those is too many in my book. So if we have 13 million, but they're all mostly good people and have gone through the background, far out. That's all I ask. But I'm hoping that one day soon, the police are going to be able to do their jobs, and all law enforcement, and all these vehicles that are all illegal with tinted windows, you can't see what are driving the vehicle because everything's so black. And then the headlights are crazy. That frequency is just annoying. I can't believe how bright they are. And it's not just me. I'm hearing it from a lot of folks. The other thing is these vehicles that have been modified, like racing trucks or cars or whatever, there's a limit to how high that headlight can be. There's a federal law. So I just kind of wonder, where are we at? I just reread the U.S. Constitution in its original form. It is difficult. It took me a bit, but I got through it. Then I realized, holy smokes, what happened to our English language? It's not what I saw in the Constitution. It's changed considerably, and it keeps changing. So I just kind of worry about the kids that can't even read cursive, because that's what it's all about. So getting back to that, it's not one person that has control like this committee. It's a lot of people involved for decision making. And I get really irritated when I hear, oh, this person did this and this. No, read the Constitution, will you? That's how it really works. But you guys seem to be on top of stuff. $350,000 for any kind of holy, and change orders, 10 grand plus. Back in mid 80s, I worked as a federal agent for military, and we were doing DD-250s or payoffs for $250,000 plus for countermeasures that protected our military people. Today, you're talking about what? Oh, changing something in the street, a sidewalk, what? Sorry. I just find it funny.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Is there anyone else that would like to come up and speak? Hi, Jerry. Please state your name and place of residence.
I'm Jerry Douglas, and I live here in Mount Vernon. And I'm here tonight to say to you, I hope you had a nice Veterans Day and you had some celebrations in your life. I had a celebration today that I want to share with you. I was at the senior center. We also call it a community center because it serves the community. We have lots of groups that meet there in the evenings as well as during the day. And of course, senior services and senior meals are served there. But today I had the privilege of helping a scout group, a Girl Scout group of 12 members, make fairy gardens. And that was such a pleasure. It brings joy to my life, and it certainly brought joy to all their lives. So I wanted to share that with you. I hope that my hope is that we can all get together as a community and a group of concerned citizens and you who represent us and the county, and we can resolve a lot of issues by sitting down and talking about possible solutions. So I hope that will happen in the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Is there anyone else that would like to come up to the podium? Okay, moving on then. We're on to our consent agenda. Tonight's agenda includes meeting minutes, payroll checks and deposits, wire transfers, claims, and agreements. Would council like to move for adoption?
So moved. Second.
Have a motion by Councilmember Tricero and a second by Councilmember Vanderstoop. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. Moving along. Reports. Are there any council members who have any comments for this evening? All right. Next up, we have the mayor's report. Surprise! I'm not the mayor. I have had the honor all year as serving as the mayor pro tem. And so part of that role is to step in when the mayor is absent. And so the mayor was not able to attend tonight, and so I get the honor. So thanks for your patience with me as I get through this. So we'll move on to new business. Item A is a public hearing for the city's 2026 property tax levy. And our finance director, Doug Valesky, will introduce this item to council tonight.
Thank you, council members. All right. As you said, I'm here today for a public hearing on the 2026 budget revenue sources. Just kind of some background on what we do throughout the year when we're trying to come up with all these revenue sources and what kind of numbers we were looking at. The city does use analytical methodologies to ensure fiscal responsibility. We balance conservative projections with realistic growth expectations based on data analysis. We look at several different areas to on getting some of this information as far as like historical lately too, I guess. Sorry, historical trend analysis. Spanning multiple fiscal years, economic indicator correlation studies, and then regional benchmarks against talking to some of the other cities. What are they doing? What are they looking at? What are they seeing? We also revenue projections incorporate input from multiple other sources, such as our internally with our department managers and department heads, and looking at what they're seeing as far as their revenues go in their areas. And we have several different sources to get state and county economic forecasts, as well as the MRSC guidance. And they actually not only have that, but there's the also provide the actual revenue amounts for a lot of state revenues that we received, that are just plugged in, that I'll talk about in a little bit. So as far as the city goes, we do have revenue policies that we need to follow. Our policies are that our current revenues will be sufficient to support current expenditures. We use calculated using an objective analytical process and will be neither overly optimistic nor overly conservative. And estimates will be performed utilizing accepted analytical techniques and shall access the full spectrum of resources available to finance city programs and services. With that, our 2026 estimated total city revenue is $93,131,965. This is all inclusive of all city funds, not just operational, but capital projects, etc., and all the fund categories too. So this is the whole amount that I'll go into here. First, breaking down that amount, taxes, 34,256,000 is estimated amount that we're bringing in this year, and it's going up to 39. I'll talk about that in a minute. I have a whole slide that just talks about taxes, so I'll just keep moving on here. Overall, looking at the very bottom there, our estimated actuals are just under $90.5 million, and we're going to be going up about 2.6 million, or just under 3% from 2025 actuals. We have some of the things there that you see some big differences. Intergovernmental services going down 22%. A lot of that is for grants that we receive for capital projects that, particularly like right now, the Mount Vernon Library Commons project, and we're no longer going to be seeing grants for that we're in the budget for the budget in 2025. Charges for services, this includes, all the utilities, ambulance services, so these are the revenue sources that we're seeing citywide. So again, overall, just under 3% increase. Breaking that out, looking at the makeup of the all the revenues, 42. You can see the dark blue section there. 42%, 42.6% our revenues are taxes. Charges for services make up 34%. And then the rest fall under that. So again, no surprise there, our largest income sources are taxes and charges for services. So our estimated total tax revenue is just under $40 million, $39,715,007. It is out of all of our revenues, like I mentioned earlier, 42.6% of them of revenues are taxes. Going into some detail there, we're looking at the sales tax, projecting at about $10 million for our budget. I'm going to go into this one a little later too. Property tax, I will also, this one includes the passing of the levy lid lift. That's why we're seeing an increase there, 4.5 million, and I'll go into more detail on that one too. Public safety and transportation benefit district, a lot of our utilities, they're all pretty much staying close to about the same. We're seeing some small increases in there. The one that I do have in there, that's the public safety, the House Bill 215. That's a public safety enhancement bill that includes local government funding to provide for local law enforcement grant programs and also local sales and use tax. So funding for this must be used for criminal justice purposes such as our public defense contract. And we're estimating if we move forward with that of $650,000 coming in starting the second quarter. So again, just kind of a bar graph here representative of what all of our tax revenues are. As you can see there, the largest is at $14 million is property tax and sales tax at $10 million, utility at 5.5, and then our transportation benefit district at 2.6. So our estimated governmental operating funds budget, which includes all the operating costs for running the city, which includes the general fund, parks and recreation, public works and streets, and the library, and all the administrative functions, we're looking at a total of $51.68 million. And the breakdown of that, again, just looking pretty much they follow along with the same as the same line as what we saw previously in the other chart there. But so you see that same tax numbers again, they're just carrying forward into this from about a $5.4 million increase. And charges for services going up about $366,000. So overall, totals for going up from our 2025 estimated values is going up about $6.1 million or 13.5%. And then just showing the breakdown here again correlates with the rest of the total revenue projections for the city. Taxes is the largest portion of this at 65%. I wanted to talk a little bit about the property tax levy lid lift that just looks like just passed. Looking at what we currently have for right now for 2025 on the left side there, our assessed value came in at just under $6 billion last year for this year. We were allotted the 1% allowable amount of $93,000. We had $17 million in new construction assessed value last year, or $27,000 tax. There was a refund levy of about $21,000, and then we used bank capacity of $406,000. So our 225 levy amount was $9,475,709 with a levy rate of 1.5836. So what we're projecting right now for the 2026 with the levy lid lift, first of all, these numbers are not finalized because the county still are going to make some adjustments for their assessed values. But right now, the total assessed values went up from 5.9 million to 6.3 million. That number next to it, the 6.2 million, is what the county is using. That excludes all seniors and disability exempt property. That's the amount that's used for calculating the levy lid lift. So the levy lid lift amount does include the 1% allowable and the new construction, comes to $4.4 million. One thing it doesn't include that I just, there's also $55,000 in refunds that the city could choose to put in here. I did not include that. That would bring it over the levy rate. So if council chooses to do something with that, but right now I did not include it in there. So with the levy that passed, the rate is 2.2537, which just equates to just over $14 million. It would be the levy projected levy amount. So that's a difference from last year of about $4.5 million. I know we spent a lot of time going over this stuff, but was there any questions on this at all? Okay. Just a little bit on some history on these property taxes. You can see here throughout the years, our assessed values is that red line. It just continues going up. The blue line is our population, and then the green bar is our levy rate. As you can see, as the assessed values go up, the levy rates go down, and then back in 26, or up in 26 with the levy lid lift, we are increasing it to about the 2020 level, and then again from there, as a cyclical, we'll probably see that rate will continue to drop down as assessed values go up. Looking at from 2015 on to 2026, you can see there was a steady decline in rates, and what we're projecting for 2026 is right around that 2018, 2019 rates that we had for property tax at that point. Then property tax distribution in Mount Vernon. So our rate is $1.58 per 1,000 of assessed value, but property tax distribution in Mount Vernon is $10.57 per $1,000 of assessed value. You can see in the bar graph way on the right, Mount Vernon schools is about $4.52 of that. The state of Washington gets $2.25 of that. The city of Mount Vernon there is in the orange bar there at 1.58. So overall, of the property tax bills that go out, the city receives about 15% of that. Sales tax revenue performance. Throughout this last decade, we can see we had some really good growth, nice growth there, about an 81% increase. And we're estimating right now that the 26 projection at $10 million, that's about a 1% growth from where we're budgeted at 9.9 million. I believe that number is going to come in actually a little higher this year than 9.9 million. It'll be closer to the 10 million. As you can see there in 24, we received just over $10 million. I think that number in 25 is going to be right around there too. So at this point, we're going to keep it pretty flat and have no increase projected in any kind of sales tax revenue. And again, just a breakdown of sales tax revenue. Our sales tax rate in Mount Vernon is 8.8%. Of that, the state of Washington receives 74% of it. And you can see that the city of Mount Vernon receives about 11%. And then the rest are for all the other areas that you're seeing there. And this is the rate currently as it is right now. Real estate excise tax. This kind of just shows this is not a surprising graph here. It's very cyclical nature of property markets. As you can see, things are going up and then they drop and then up and drop. Back in 21 and 22, we were receiving over $2 million. That was for just during the COVID, our markets increased. And then it dropped back down in 2023, kind of corrected that back down to 1.25 million. And it is starting to increase for 24, and 25 looks like it's going to be just over 1.6 million. And we're just, as you can see, the trend line continues to go up, but we're not estimating that to be any higher than that. This doesn't include any one-offs of big properties that could really inflate this cost up. So we think we have a pretty conservative and realistic amount on this one. And then lastly, just other major city revenue sources that I wanted to touch base. Looking at the top three there is our utility revenues. As you can see, they're going up a little based off of growth. And then also there was some CPI adjustments that were done from the rate studies that were done in the years past. We have the ambulance services. This is the EMS levy that we receive from the county. That amount is set in contract. So the 2025 went up to 3.6 million from 1.6, just based off a reallocation of those revenues. And in 26, it's estimated at 3.7 million. Ambulance services is also for transports is also slowly going up. And then ground emergency or the GEMT transports, these projections are just going up a little bit, kind of staying flat. We're not exactly sure what's going to be happening here. This is all based off the Medicaid portion of those transport costs. Building permits we've talked about, and Stacy talks about it every month about what's going on there. They are going up this year. I think we might go over that $700,000 amount, and so we're just kind of keeping that flat for next year. And then the rest of those down below, the business or the motor vehicle fuel tax, the liquor, board profits and excise tax and marijuana excise tax, those are actual dollar amounts that the state has allocated to the city of Mount Vernon based on our population. So those are true revenue amounts that we should be collecting in 2026. So with that is all I have tonight.
All right, council, do you have any questions for Doug?
It's come up in the past, especially with the marijuana deal. Is that money allocated for public safety, or is it just put into the regular?
It's just put into the general fund.
Okay. And no sign of that ever getting up much higher than that?
You know, you would think it would be increasing, but it's the dollar amount coming forward is just not. And again, it's by population. It's by also they distribute it in two different ways. One is by population of the city, and then the other is by I believe it's by shops within city limits that are allowed. I can't remember exactly how that works, but it's a small portion of it also.
Okay.
Okay. So next up, we'll have a public hearing to allow for comments on our 2026 property tax levy. And with that, we will go ahead and open the public hearing. If you have a comment, please come up and state your name and.
Hi all, Ed Johnson again. Yeah, former property owner here, that's me. I sold my place in '05, and I saw the property values go hysterically stupid. So my place I sold for $85,000. 3 years later was worth almost $1 million because of the rezoning and stuff. I had an agriculture RA type of ordinance. What do you call it? Well, anyways, the property I can't even think of the words. Residential agriculture, built in 1942. It was on 33rd and College Way, on College Way. So anyways, I just see these numbers, and I'm hoping, are these slides available online that you just showed, the stovepipe and the other stuff?
There's a
Okay, I'll get with you later.
Public.
Okay, because I was wondering what those, I was trying to look for the slide numbers so I can go back and review them, but I didn't see them. I didn't bring my glasses, so that didn't help out. But anyways, I'm just kind of concerned about some of the numbers being shown because there's a major upset financially in the United States, and it's still not, the dust hasn't settled, and I'm kind of wondering where that's going to end up. But it's also, I'm concerned very much for the seniors, disabled seniors like me, because I am on limited income, and these taxes are going up and up and up, although there are some discounts for the seniors and disability persons. But at the same time, isn't it time that after you're 60 years old and paid all these taxes for your life that you can get a big break like nothing? I mean, you pay for your property, you pay everything else associated with the property, and yet you got to still pay taxes till you're dead. That just doesn't make sense to me, but I understand eminent domain, sadly, since College Way was widened and hadn't been involved in that. And we frankly don't really own anything, but yet we are told we do. So again, a play on words in the United States. Just saying. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? Okay. With that, we will close the public hearing. And we are required by state law to hold 2 public hearings. So our next public hearing will be next Wednesday.
That's correct, on the budget, yes.
All right.
Right.
No action
Thank you.
by
No
council at this time. Thank you very much, Deb. All right, next up is item B. It's an amendment for an agreement with Scott Wall Construction, and our Parks and Rec Director, Jennifer Berner, will present this.
Good evening, council. So just for a little background for folks is we had a fire damage Bakerview back in July of 2024. And we worked with Kaufman Engineers to develop a scope of work for that restoration work. Upon completion of the bid process, we settled on the construction company, Scott Wall Construction. They were the lowest bidder. And as we got into the project, there was the discovery that there was additional damage done to some of the wiring up in the ceiling section of the restroom there. So with that, what we are asking is to do a change order, which with Scott Wall Construction. And so it will address the electrical wiring that is damaged in the fire, and it's not in their initial scope of work. So with that, the initial contract for Scott Wall Construction was $68,229 without tax, and the electrical work is an additional $12,345. So the total will be $80,574,000. You in your packet, you had the scope of work for the change order, and there is the estimated cost of work from Integrity Electric, as well as the change order from Scott Wall Construction. So what we are asking is staff is recommending City Council authorize the mayor to execute a change order with Scott Wall Construction for the additional scope of work of the electrical piece.
Right, council, any questions?
I'd move, oh, go ahead.
Please.
Were you gonna make a comment?
No.
No, go for it.
I would just move to authorize the mayor.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Vanderstoop and a second by Councilmember Molinar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have item C, and this will be some updates to our city's animal code, and our city attorney, Kevin Rogerson, will walk us through this item.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tempora and City Council. You have before you 2 ordinances, but you do essentially the same thing, so we're asking it to be one agenda item. The ordinances, I think City Clerk has labeled them 3925, it amends Chapter 604 of your municipal code, and 3926, which is Chapter 608, titled Dangerous Dogs. Your Animal Control Services, which is a part of the Mount Vernon Police Department, has requested changes to the city's animal regulations. The main thrust of the proposed ordinances would repeal your licensing mandatory requirements for dogs and cats and replace it with a requirement that all dogs and cats be vaccinated for rabies and be chipped. The reasons for that are financial and time and to save time and labor, and for compliance. Staff has opined during committee meetings that our licensing requirements aren't being effectively monitored. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of resources to do it, and they believe that the new technology, not quite new actually, chipping is a good substitute for that. If you look at the changes, it does permit exceptions to licensing and vaccinations, and it requires, as staff recommended, this is not a revenue gathering effort, it's just an effort for compliance. So if somebody were to come in within 20 days of getting a citation that your dog has not been, or cat has not been vaccinated or chipped, if you come in to show that they have been within 20 days, the violation will be dismissed. There are other changes to the code, but those would be the substantive ones. The other changes are set forth in the memo. I'd be happy to talk to the council about it. You can take action in one motion to adopt both ordinances. Certainly don't have to. And it will require a majority of the whole of the council, so you'd have to be unanimous here, since you only have 4.
All right, council, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I'd move to adopt those ordinances. Nobody has any other thoughts.
If it doesn't pass, can you run it again? Because you said it has to have.
Yeah, we could always bring it back up for action later.
Go ahead.
Okay, we have a motion for ordinance 3925 and 3926 by Councilmember Vanderstoop and a second by Councilmember Tercero. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Both ordinances pass. Thanks, Kevin. Okay, and our final agenda item for the evening is item D. And this is a meeting cancellation. Council will not be meeting the week of Thanksgiving. And according to our city code, council would normally meet on Tuesday, the 25th this year. But we don't have pressing business. So if council would like to make a motion to cancel our meeting on November 25th, then we would meet again on December 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Tercero and a second by Councilmember Molinar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Same sign. Motion passes. All right. Finally, item number 7, executive session. I will ask our city attorney if there is a need for an executive session this evening.
There is no need.
All right. And with that, we will adjourn the Mount Vernon City Council meeting for Wednesday, November 12th. The time is 7:37 p.m. Thank you.